Asahi is a typical boy walking to high school one day. He sees a psychic telling him that he will be the luckiest man on his birthday, which is today. He realizes he's late and runs to school to reach the train. Another girl is also running and bumps right into him, landing on top of his head. He gets a great view. She forgets her underwear and he takes them with him. A hot girl comes next to him on the train, beginning to fall asleep on top of him and holding his arms close to her breast. He attempts to escape, but the girl clings onto him. He falls on top of her breasts and grabs them. She kicks him in the head and he runs away. He goes down the stairs and a girl slips on them, landing in the most convenient place. She does a hammer punch to his plot and leaves her banana. A robot is picking up trash off the ground and our typical anime protagonist sees that it is holding a bra and picks it up. A red-haired girl comes and yells at him for taking her bra. She is embarrassed. However, the robot begins to drag her away without her getting her bra back. As he is walking to class, he finds a dog developing his own plot. Seriously, even the dog has plot in this anime. Our chivalrous man thinks this is a trap and ignores it. However, this dog begins developing plot with the man too. What a wonderful start to this anime. He sneaks late to his class and has forgotten his seat. He asks his friend where his seat is. He shows him where it is, and when he sits in his seat, he sees that the girls sitting next to him are all the same girls he saw in the morning. The brown-haired girl looks towards him, however he tries to ignore her. The teacher, who is of course one of the girls, introduces all the new girls. Ai, Amelia, Ilya, Karin, and Manokfa. The sensei realizes the boy is late, and calls him a naughty boy. He does his best not to let any of the other girls see him. They ask him why he's facing the window the whole time. However, he doesn't turn his face. When the teacher demands him to look the other way, he attempts to change the way he looks, and the girls fall for it. Ai asks if he's the guy from this morning and startles him. The rest of the girls also recognize him. Asahi asks him for his name because the slap made him forget everything. His name is Yoshi. Asahi tells him how his morning went with the 5 girls. Yoshi is jealous. Ilya is running in the background and changes behind the lockers. Plot develops. Ai thinks that it wasn't truly Asahi's fault for the things that happened this morning. Ai is blushing while looking at our man. Plot develops. Yoshi tells him that he should try to clear up the misunderstandings between them. As he goes to his locker, he finds a love note sticking there, and it tells him to meet this girl somewhere. He is running and is about to hit Ai. However, he doesn't crash into her. Ai asks him if he has any of her belongings from the morning, but he accidentally pulls out the red bra from his pocket. She gets angry and jealous and slaps him in the face. He sees Karin is hungry because she didn't have any food. He gives her the banana in the morning and she eats it. Of course it has to be lewd. Why wouldn't it be? Ilya runs, and the dogs are again chasing her. He takes shelter behind Asahi, and he tries to protect him by yelling at the dog. However, the dogs just jump on him and get him in position. Poor man can't catch a break today. While walking back, he sees the teacher telling him that he needs to have his wound treated. She puts a cotton ball on it and treats it. She apologizes for jumping to the wrong conclusion on the train. Asahi accepts her apology, and Amelia comes in. The teacher leaves them together, and Amelia asks him where the bandages are. She tells him the chafing hurts, and he realizes that he has her great cloth. She forces him to give it back to her. She knows that it wasn't his fault for taking it and apologizes for acting up. At the end of the long day, he decides to check on what his note says, and it leads him to a giant sakura tree. Ai meets him there and tells him that she loves him. Asahi is taken back by this and blushes. He lets her underwear float away. She repeats that she likes him. She realizes her underwear are on the tree and runs away. Ilya comes and barks in his ears. He walks away with him and tells him that he loves him. Asahi doesn't say much. The teacher comes running and grabs him away with her. They run together into an alley and she doesn't explain anything that is going on. She realizes that something is bad, and men are coming in the distance. She is grabbing onto our man and treating him like he's her territory. They have left, but she doesn't stop doing it. Our man has just experienced the best climax in his life. She explains to him that someone is trying to marry her, but she doesn't like the person who is trying to marry her. Those people are attempting to get her to marry him. She apologizes to him, but he doesn't need her apology. He's just confused because he thought you should do that with a person you love. She tells him that she does love him. She tells him they're a man and woman, and asks him if he likes her, using her plot as incentive. He runs away from action like every anime protagonist. Karin has found him, and jumps in a wedding dress towards him. He runs away attempting to ignore her. She reveals that she's actually a model, and is even on all the billboards. He wonders if her outfit is for a photo shoot, and she tells him it's actually for a wedding. For Karin and Asahi's wedding. She tells him it's because she's in love with him. She takes him to a church. Psych. She takes him to a love hotel. He tells her that they should first say their vows, and he could never reject a model to be his wife. He asks her to close her eyes, and she stays waiting. She tells him to stop the suspense. Our man fumbled the bag again. Amelia is in disguise and asks him for a signature. She insists, and he decides to look at the document. He begins to write his name but realizes that this is actually a marriage form. Asahi keeps rejecting all the tail he gets. The robot comes again to Amelia, pulling away her bra once again. He finally heads home and sees 5 girls on their knees. AI tells him welcome home dear. As they welcome him, he closes the door on him. They ask if he wants dinner, or a bath, or maybe Amelia. He thinks this is the wrong house, but they assure him it's his. He wonders why they're here. He gets a message from his father. It says that these 5 women are potential brides for him. They're all pretty hot. His father says one of them is a guy. But in this era, you shouldn't limit yourself based on gender. Anyway, they'll all be living with him today, and whether he marries all of them, or gets rid of all of them, it's up to him. AI asks him what he wants for dinner, and they begin arguing about what to have for dinner. He yells at all of them to leave, and they get on their knees and are upset. They explain that it is a bit mean of him to throw them out immediately, because they'll have nowhere to stay. They've been staying at hotels in the past, so he tells them to keep living there, as there's not enough rooms in the home for 5 girls. However, they reveal that there actually is, and the house appears to have been renovated in a single day. He tells them that it's not about space. He's a guy and shouldn't be living with girls. What if something happens? They tell him that they wouldn't mind if anything happened anyway. The school even approved permission for the teacher to live with him. They wonder if he likes them, so they decide to make food for him and prepare a table together. They feed him together, and he decides to go take a bath. Karin follows him and attempts to develop a plot. However, he just kicks her out. He notices that Amelia is under the bath, and decides to leave her alone in there. He enters his room making sure no one is there. He finally relaxes, but sees the teacher has Spider-Man's abilities. He yells at them that he told them not to hassle him, and that they must leave now. However, they don't have a place to go to, so he decides that he will be the one leaving instead. He has no idea where to go, so he decides to go to where he saw the Sakura tree. AI goes up behind. She tells him that she spent so long wondering who this special someone was. They had all been wondering who this person was and how he'd changed their lives. They've been so anxious, so that may be why they overstepped their boundaries. She tells him that they apologize, and that they will leave to no longer bother him. She tells him that they will manage even though they have nowhere to go. He tells her it's okay, they'll stay at his house, and that he can't throw out these girls anyway. However, they will no longer mess with him like this. She promises they'll do their best, and he smiles, saying it's okay. She begins to cry because of his warm smile. Meanwhile, the girls are preparing to pack their bags and leave, and Asahi tells them that they will not be going anywhere. They just must behave themselves, and thus began their life together. Asahi wakes up and sees someone is under his bed, and that all the locks were unlocked. He sees Amelia using his foot to sign a marriage license. He gets mad. AI is writing people's names on the food, and Amelia decides to write Asahi's, but she is terrible at writing the characters. Today they'll be learning kanji, but Amelia is upset by this as she struggles with it. The teacher tells Karin to write a sentence on the board, and she reveals her main character abilities with the pencil. She successfully writes it, but Amelia goes up to the board. She completely messes up the phrase and writes murky white liquid on the board. Giggity. They find out they have a test, and Amelia thinks it'll be easy. When she gets home, she is sad that she lost rock, paper, scissors with someone. She promises that she will find a way to win rock, paper, scissors. She spends all night and morning figuring out a way to always win rock, paper, scissors. She's so confident that she bets all her puddings. This is the greatest tournament of all time. She prepares her rock, paper, scissors skills and is ready to battle. She loses all the pudding. AI has prepared his lunch as he talks with Yoshi, and he realizes that AI had made him all his favorite foods. He wonders where Amelia is, but she is inside her room moaning. He then hears her chanting the lines from a story. He realizes that she is just practicing recitation of kanji. Her book is full of difficult kanji. What a great choice. She's from a different country but can't master the characters they use. Even the idiot Yoshi is able to do it. She is studying for the test and Asahi wants to help her. They go to a library together and they're practicing kanji. However, she writes the wrong word for everything. She is able to continue writing such specific words even though he's giving her easy words. He sees that she is struggling very hard as she keeps practicing for this test. He asks her why she is trying so hard, and she tells him that she wants to succeed and be able to use his language as well. She runs away and is sitting sad inside her room. Asahi comes in and attempts to apologize. She tells him to leave her alone, and begin realizing that she was very mean to him. She yelled at him, but she really wanted to thank him and be nice to him. She apologizes for how she acted. Asahi, however, tells her that he appreciates how hard she is working, and wants to do what he can to help her. It makes him happy that she's trying so hard to learn his language. He tells her not to hate herself. She sees the gift that he got her, and they happen to be a form of flashcards that he made for her to learn. She thanks him and treasures them. The other girls are staring in jealousy about what he gave her. They know that there's only one thing women and men can do together alone. He opens the door and they fall in. Amelia surrounds the house with her kanji to help her learn the words of the language. Amelia takes the test and has made a lot of progress, and she is happy for working so hard and having a person that appreciates her. Ilya sits in the dark, saddened. Her father tells her that her name is not Irina. Her name is Ilya. He tells her that she will live as a boy and not as a girl. At school, there's a lottery where the top prize is a vacation for 2 people. 3 of the girls decide to buy 3 tickets, and all of them win the prize. They get a total of 6 tickets, and all of them go on vacation for free. When they arrive, the place looks sketchy. A woman that is gigantic and looks like a man greets them. They divide the rooms into men and women, and Ilya goes with Asahi. Asahi slaps him, and the girls come and decide to go play together. They play a 2-on-2 ping pong game. The teacher releases a massive blow that goes flying around and magically rips Karin's clothes. How does this stuff keep happening? At dinner, they realize that this place is filled with these masks, and it happens to be about the Tengu. He came to protect this sacred spring, and is the reason this place honors him. Ilya is worried that Asahi will soon find her out, but Asahi comes and slaps him again. She sees he's shirtless, but tries to find a way of fooling him as they will be showering together. She finds the mask of the Tengu. Ilya comes in and has a gigantic thing sticking underneath. Asahi is completely impressed, and Ilya decides to rub his back. They are together in a sauna, and Ilya is worried that Asahi will find out that she is a girl if she leaves early. She is steaming and begins sweating a lot. However, Asahi sees that fire is beginning to surround her, and that her shit has left her body. His eyes think Ilya is a man's man. He congratulates her on thinking she is a true man. He calls her a man among men. He runs out of the steaming hot and jumps into the water. Ilya doesn't know how she managed to somehow get away with this. Her towel flies off and lands on a rock. She sees Asahi is about to come and see her. She uses the mask that's been covering her to act like she is the Tengu. The girls are also peeking and get scared and fall down. A bar of soap goes flying around. Ilya falls on the bar of soap, and Asahi realizes what Ilya actually is. She is knocked out and Asahi is waiting for her. He asks her if she's awake and if she's okay. She wonders where she is, and Asahi has realized that she is actually a girl. He apologizes for doing all sorts of bad things with her. She tells him not to apologize as she is the one who has been deceiving him the whole time. She was never annoyed with him and worries that he was annoyed with her because she's been lying the entire time. He asks her if she had a reason for lying, and she tells him it was her father's dying wish. He had always wanted a son, so he forced Ilya to act like a boy instead. Asahi asks her what she truly wants to do, live as a boy or as a girl. Ilya tells him that she wants to be the real version of herself, to be like Amelia, Ai, and Karin, and to live as a girl like the others in their home. Asahi hugs her and tells her to be a girl, to live her life the way she wants to, and tells her that her father would have definitely understood. Asahi is a bit disappointed that he's the only guy. Psych, why wouldn't he want that? Ilya thanks him for being so kind to her. The next day, Amelia is telling the owner that she definitely saw the Tengu and that it was a naked woman. Ilya is embarrassed and Asahi laughs it off. The next day, they are on the news for a spotting of the Tengu, but the actual Tengu happens to be overlooking the premises. The next day, the girls are wondering where Ilya is, and she apologizes for being late. She comes in dressed in a woman's uniform. The girls wonder why she's dressed that way, and she tells them that she will introduce herself again. Her real name is Irina, and she is a girl. Earlier that day, Yashio is surprised to find out that Ilya is actually a girl, and not a guy. Their teacher, Bai, comes and fixes Asahi's tie, and his friend tells him he wishes he was that lucky. He tells him that their teacher is the dream as she's got a lot of plot on her. He bets that she'd take her time showing him the ropes and have him tied up with the ropes by the end of it.
What do you mean by that?
He says that she apparently has a lot of fans, and the other girls call them tasteless. Karin asks him why he'd go for an older woman when she's a young model in front of him, but he tells her that she looks older than the teacher.
It's an evil world we live in.
Everyone loves her, and at home she drinks a lot of grape juice, you know, the PG kind. Amelia asks for a taste of the grape juice, but AI doesn't let her and serves Bai snacks. Bai hugs her. Amelia tells her that she has too much plot, and begins engaging in an intense battle. Asahi tells her to chill out, and she is ready to jump on him. But Karin stops her and she hugs her as well and begins hugging all the other girls. She then passes out, and Asahi goes to his room. He finds someone is lying underneath his bed and thinks it's Amelia. I didn't know Amelia became a buff old man. He tells him that he's going to take Asahi with him, and he wakes up in a random room. He sees the old man on a monitor and calls Asahi bait to lure the girl out. Wait, how did we get here? Wasn't this anime just a cute slice of life harem anime? Asahi is trapped and squeals for his life, and Bai sees him and unties him. She calls him adorable and tries to cheer him up. She gives him plot-driven weapons to help him escape. He asks her how the guys ended up passing out, but she tells him that they were asleep when she got here, and that she'd be upset if they were in her class doing that. A guy comes up, and Bai pretends to fall out of the way but punches him, and Asahi uses his weapon to hit him in the head. Another guy approaches, but Bai pretends to accidentally tie him up and pull his legs up, allowing Asahi to get a chance to use his weapon in its intended way. They run to an elevator, but it isn't working and they have to go into the control room. She then activates her cyber eye and says that it's on the 10th floor. I could have sworn this anime was a peaceful anime until last episode. She tells him that they need to head to the 10th floor and doesn't explain how she got that information. She gets a rope and begins to try to crash into the window with her feet, and they enter the control room and activate the elevator. But something opens and a man comes from inside. He calls her Bloody Tiger, and Asahi has no idea what they're talking about. The man reveals that she was once a woman who was feared, but is now just a laughingstock. He dashes at Asahi, but she activates an energy barrier to block him and crush him against the wall. The man tells Asahi that she was once an agent that struck terror into people. She destroyed countless organizations, and she was named Bloody Tiger. His entire team, the Ultimate Task Force, was wiped out by her, and she destroyed all of them. He was the only person who rose up from the dirt to fight against her. He tells her to show Asahi who she truly is, and she launches a kick towards the man, but he catches it and throws her against the wall. He readies a punch to crush her, but she dodges out of the way. The man proceeds to fight against Asahi, telling her that he will show her true revenge. Bai rushes towards him, but he punches her away. However, she recovers and counterattacks, but he is able to grip her. He holds her upside down, but she tells Asahi to hit the switch. The bed starts to rotate, and the invisible strings all around him begin to warp around the bed. She kicks him off, and they begin to run away while the strings restrain the man, and he will never be able to break it. They run outside to the elevators, and Bai sees Asahi is hurt. She rips off her clothes and wraps it around him, apologizing for all of this happening. She used to be this way, but out of nowhere, she realized what she is doing was wrong and that she should stop this, as her life was just about destroying lives and feeding a vicious cycle of hate. She left the organization and chose her path as a teacher because she was helping people instead. She enjoys the time she spent with them, the ordinary days with him and the rest of the girls. She tells him that she felt like an actual person for the first time and that she learned the true meaning of life. She tells him, however, that it's all over now and activates a suit like she's Tony Stark. She gets out of the elevator and begins to destroy the enemies in front of her. She shoots them all down, and the entire room is cleared. She tells him to go on without her, and she begins firing next to him, telling him that he'll be getting in her way. He runs away, but all he can think of is how Bai must feel. Meanwhile, she is clearing the room and he hears gunshots coming. Bai comes out of the building, crying and falling to her knees. However, the man somehow comes out of nowhere, and she sees that his body is made of steel. He tells her that he got this body because she once put him on the verge of death, and he extends his metal arm and chokes her. He says that he will harm her to exact his revenge, but a fire hydrant comes and throws his arm off. Asahi attempts to hit him with a rod, but it doesn't do anything. He tells the man that his teacher is his family, and he won't let him harm her. The man rushes at him, but Asahi releases a bag that is filled with a white liquidy substance. He then extends his electric rod on him, and it begins to electrocute him. Bai gets an opening and punches him against the wall. His electricity turns off, and they realize that they have won. He tells her that he feels a bit sticky and gross, and he tells her that he came back because he can't go home without her. He tells her that she's part of his family, and she needs to come back. He extends his hand, and she holds it. The next morning, Karin is sneaking to the house, but sees something and starts screaming. Amelia and the rest of the girls come, and she tells them to look. They see Asahi is laying on Bai's plot, and a white sticky substance covers both of them. Anna attempts to get the feather from her, but she punches his arm off, and tells him that she won't let him get closer than that. The council of dolls that are named after Rubber is meeting together. Genuinely, who came up with this story? They ask Yoshino what she thinks about these results. If you got to this part, flood the comments section by saying Rip Asahi. He was a real one, so we can confuse the fake fans. It'll definitely throw them off. Thank you for beginning this journey with me, but it doesn't end there. Who will Asahi choose to be his wife, or will he choose any of them? If this video gets enough likes, I will be uploading the next part. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.